Lance Hall here for Let's Discuss. Lance Hall, very happy and honored to have Allesandro Del Vecchio on the program today. We are here to talk about the latest album from Sunstorm, Brothers in Arms, which will be coming out Friday, August 12th on Frontiers. How are you doing today, Allesandro?
I'm very good, and thank you for having me in your show.
Absolutely. As I was telling you briefly when we were talking before I started recording, I've spoken of you so many times. I am very happy to be speaking with you. So let's talk about this album. Let's start off with cover art and the title of it. I love both.
Okay, so it's both my ideas.
Okay,
so,
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, Brothers in Arms, the whole concept behind the song and the whole message that we want to bring forward with the album is that in time of odds and adversities, we should stick together like brothers in arms, literally like brothers in arms, because we forget that that life is a struggle, is a battle, is a constant fight, with in between moments of joy, but we always have to fight for our dreams, for our beliefs, for what we think is better for the human community. And especially in this last 2 years and a half, we've seen so much division, and it's becoming the new normal. It's now being divided, so it's all polarized, and
Yes.
Brothers in Arms talks about that, not being polarized. The whole world is my friend. I don't want to see division in any group of people. I don't care if there's a different religious belief or a different life philosophy or political view. I don't care, or color, skin, anything. I mean, especially music should be the link, the glue between all the different groups, and and the misfits, and the good guys and the bad guys. Music should really be above that, and put everybody together like brothers in arms. And the cover artwork obviously reflects that. So we basically took away the weapons and everything, and we used our instruments as weapons. And those 5 black figures, these are actual photos of us that we made on purpose, because I envisioned this cover artwork. And so there's Ronnie with the fist and the microphone, and I got my keyboard on my shoulder, and the guitars and the drumsticks. And it's kind of it's pretty obvious that's it's about music, the power of music, and what music can do, especially in this dividing times that we're living in.
Absolutely. Very cool. Let's talk about the guys in the band. Of course, you're doing your keys and stuff. Ronnie Romero on vocals. Now, I don't dare to try to pronounce the rest of these gentlemen's names, so I'm going to turn that over to you.
Okay, so yeah, we have Nick Mazzucconi, which is my bass player also in Edge of Forever.
Okay.
And it's been with me on countless tour with Ian Pace of Deep Purple, Glenn Hughes, and Carmine Appice. And he was the obvious choice when Sunstorm got back after the first 3 albums, and still we had Jolene Turner on vocals. So Nick is the longest standing member of Sunstorm besides me. So that's pretty cool to have him again with us. And then on guitar, we have a new member. His name is Luca Princiotta. He's been playing guitars for Doro for 15, 17 years. And lately we started to do jams together and stuff like that. We did a session together for an album that I produced for Yorn, and he played guitars on 4 or 5 songs. And we realized that we live like 40 kilometers from each other, and like 30 miles from each other, and we never played together. So when it was time to have a new guitar player that could play like Simone Mularoni, our former guitar player, and could write at that level, the choice of Luca was basically, very obvious. And
Yeah.
and then we have Michele Sanna from he lives in Sardinia, so he's like on the other side of the Mediterranean Sea for us, but like 1 hour and a half by
Yeah.
plane from here, so it's pretty easy to have him come to the studio and work together. And Michele is a very high level drum tech as well. Has been on tour with Primal Fear and Creator and Manowar, and he's a great, fantastic drummer. And he also played with Rhapsody, with Luca Turilli's Rhapsody and Fabio Leone. So it's got some pedigree, and is a fantastic drummer and one of my best friends.
I was gonna say you've got some amazing lineage there in that lineup, with Axe and stuff. Very cool.
Yeah. I like to be surrounded by better musicians than myself. I always say that, and I live by that, because it's the only way to improve and to kind of have that fire, and not just sit on your whatever you gained in the past. If you always challenge yourself with better musicians surrounding you, that's a good fire to want to improve and get better in this better songs and better mixes and everything.
Let's get into a few of the tracks on the album. I got to listen to a copy of it that Dustin got me. Title track, Brothers in Arms. You released a video for it. Fantastic video. I love the timing change into the keys. It sort of sounded to me, to my ear, sounded sort of rainbowish.
Yeah.
And in the video, I loved the reverse teardrop, where the teardrop rolls back up. I thought that really caught my eye. I thought it was really excellent. You sort of explained that track, though, to us. Tell us a little bit about the video.
Yeah, the video. So we sat down with Maurizio Del Piccolo, who's the director of the video. And obviously we didn't want to go, too cheesy with, literally the Brothers in Arms. That would have been too much. We didn't want to show any weapon or stuff like that. So, we created a story that, this person gets, this random mail, and she starts putting together all the pieces. And then at the end, it's, this picture of strength and unity, and everything with the reverse tear. You realize that through unity and through love and strength that you can have when you get together with someone, everything else can be won. You can win any battle, because if you're alone, you're alone. There's there's always been, there will always be someone that's sticking together with someone else and winning the battle. But every day's battles, whatever battles we have as persons. But if we stick together and we believe in unity, we will be stronger, because that's what nature taught us for million years.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. Track 2, Games We Play, just a great melodic rock song is a note. I really love the melody on this one. Again, you've got a video out for this one too. I love the card tricks in it. Whose idea was that?
That was again done with Maurizio Del Piccolo. And normally when I'm involved in a band, I like to work with the director or the artwork graphic designer, so that they can feel the vision and see the vision and understand the vision that I have when I write some of these songs. And Games We Play is a song about the tricks and the traps we give ourselves during especially nowadays life, because we're surrounded by so much BS and so much fakeness in everything. You just wake up, you open your social media, everything is perfect up there. Everybody's looking great, and that is a trap, because we're starting to believe maybe not us, not our generation, but the younger generations are starting to believe that life is easy if you have money, and you don't have to, care about anybody else if you're rich.
Yeah.
Because if you're rich, you can do whatever you want, and you can show off, like a bully, you can show off whatever wealth or power you have. But this is just a game we play. This is not reality. And then when you face the reality, you realize that you cannot buy anything with money if you're not a good person or a happy person.
Right.
And we buy traps for ourselves, or everything that's that's convenient, that's comfortable, like our new amazing car, that is a trap, because that's just a screen that we use to communicate to the society what our worth and our value and what we do and who we are, what we like. But then at the end, whatever we have or don't have doesn't really define who we are. Because if you're a good person, you can be extremely rich and still retain those human values, but then you can become the wealthiest on the planet, but still being a bad person. So that's just a trick that we think it's gonna work with the society, but life, it's gonna definitely kick back and teach us that is just the optional.
I agree. You think it's been written over the years too. The first time I really heard about that was back in the day when I heard the title track of the Styx album, A Grand Illusion.
Yeah,
and that was before social media. Those guys were on it.
Yeah, and if you think about how many, like 50 years have 50 years have gone by almost.
Yeah.
And still we it's in the human nature to live in this grand illusion that if you have, you are. But basically, you are because you exist as a being. And we forget that we call ourselves human beings, but we're not humane anymore. We're like so detached from the human side of us, but the human values, the way we treat each other. And every time we turn on the TV or social media, those places, those things are full of things that remind us not to be humane. Because if you turn on the TV, like like news station, you think the world is a bad place. You think everybody's gonna die, and there's but that's not the reality. That's just a little portion of the reality, but it's just perceived as big because it's been shown to us at literally every moment.
Yeah, it's in your face all the time.
Oh yeah.
Track 4, I Will Remember. The line I really liked out of this, I hope I've written it down right. I sit and wonder, who am I and what I can be? The answer lies within. How many of us have done that, and realize that it lies within, and you're trying to get it out, and you're trying to figure things out, but sometimes it's just hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's especially nowadays with all the commodities and and the how comfortable our life is today. We forget to just slow down, to sit and wonder and think and do those that inner work that that in the past you used to do when you were bored. Like being bored meant that you couldn't do anything else, so you were just thinking, you were envisioning, you were creating. But now we're all trying to survive by not living. We're not living in the moment anymore. We always live for the future, but life is now. I mean, because the future is the past is in the past, but the future is in the future. So I mean, life is not tomorrow, life is today. But we're so used of of living by the plans. Like you buy a house and you live by the plan of paying every month your mortgage for 20 years. that's we're not biologically and spiritually built for that.
Right.
That's why we're all stressed, because we're always thinking about the future, but we're biologically meant to live in the here and now.
Right. I read a very powerful sign. It was on the side of a soda cooler in a pizza place, believe it or not. These things come at you from in the oddest places. It said, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift. That's why we call it the present. And that
Oh
really stuck with
wow.
me. It
Oh
really stuck
wow.
with me.
That's the truth. That's the
Yeah.
truth. I mean, but that's a great line. I gotta write it down because it's but it's it's the truth. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, and I'm the first one, and sometimes people think that I'm this kind of guru, this Zen guy, like doing the meditation at 4 o'clock in the morning, but I'm trying to navigate the same life as you and all the and all the other billion people on the planet. We're all stuck in this place and time, and it's difficult, but I'm sure it's meant to be easier. We're just
Yes.
fooling ourselves, in this
Uh-huh.
grand illusion.
I agree. I agree. Track 8, Lost in the Shadows of Love. You kind of fooled me here. The title, I'm looking at the title as the tracks are ticking down. I'm thinking, oh, Lost in the Shadows of Love. This is going to be a nice ballad. What a
No.
rocker. What
No,
a
no, no.
rocker that was.
Yeah, yeah. And and that song is pretty, I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, it's very clear, what it talks about. Sometimes, love should be the ultimate goal in life. And and sometimes we're just lost in what we think is love, but it's just a shadow of love, because it's love, unfortunately, all the good things and the bad things of our human nature are coming from the same source. We're good and bad at the same time, and sometimes we act by the bad, and we don't let the good win. But so that song is about basically a relationship where or a series of relationships, because there are people, myself included, we tend to fall into the same mistake when it comes to relationships. We're always trying to find the same kind of person until we drop so low, we hit rock bottom, and we come back stronger, and we then realize that maybe we were right, but our target was wrong.
100% agree. Track 9, Hold the Night. This is where I love to get to talk to the artists who recorded the songs to see if my ear is hearing this in the same way that you intended, or if I'm totally off base. As I'm listening to this song, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm well versed in 80s music. This sounded very Dokken-ish to me, like the band Dokken.
Yeah.
The way the rhythm was set up and everything. How close am I?
Well, you're very close. The original demo that I did with Stefano Mainini, who I wrote the song with, the melody, the do was written on a guitar. Okay. And then we having one guitarist, we didn't know how to make it work and make it sound like I had it in my head. Then I came up with the Mini Moog idea. But that song is definitely, like a classic Dokken, where the chorus is super open and melodic, and the verses are more, like tough and groovy and stuff like that. But you're definitely close.
The tune I was thinking of was Just Got Lucky by Dokken. It was sort of structurally, it reminded me of that a lot,
Yeah.
Final track, Living Out of Fear. I was really intrigued with this one. I liked it. I'm anxious to hear a little bit of the story behind this one.
Well, you can understand that I'm always writing. I'm looking at the world. So I wake up every morning and I look at the world, and at the world, and I try to find words that can inspire me to write songs. And I created this habit of writing as much as I can. Sometimes I write every day, and sometimes I just write even just few lines. And one day, I just wrote a title. I just wrote "Living Out of Fear," and I thought, okay, one day I'm going to use this title. because I saw what was happening during the pandemic, and I'm all for the science and wearing masks and and do the right thing for the others, but still, in a different in a difficult situation, you have to be even more logical. And one day I was going to the grocery store, and I saw people driving alone in their cars with their masks on and gloves. And gloves. And I was like, oh my God, that's not logical. And when you start unplugging your brain, you can only live with your instincts. And the most basic instinct that we have is survival, that can only be ignited by fear. When you fear to die, your survival instinct kicks in and makes you do things you would never do, because logically you would never jump or climb a tree or do those things, because you need to survive. And same thing with the pandemic. And I was like, okay, maybe we're actually really living out of fear, and we're still not using our most precious gift, which is our brain. Because if we're logical, obviously our actions are always balanced and everything, but if there's fear kicking in, our thoughts are like, they start spinning around, and you do crazy things. And during the last 2 years and a half, we've seen the worst of humanity, in terms of craziness. Like I was living in Florida during the first part of the pandemic, and as a European, you're never used to the Walmart craziness.
Yes.
And the police getting into a supermarket because somebody doesn't want to wear a mask, or starts throwing everything finds around the store, and I was like, oh my God, we're taking all our instincts and our worst side just to the extreme, just because we fear that we're going to lose our job, lose our life, lose whatever rights we think we have. But then in the end, life is not meant to be like that. We create those problems because life is easy. Life is meant to be, we're born, we live, we copulate, maybe we die. I mean, that we eat every day, we poop every day, we pee every day. That's what biologically we would do if we didn't have these boxes where we live in, our job, our cars, our houses, and stuff like that. We would probably sleep under the trees or under a rock, or find dig holes in the ground, whatever. But we just live out of fear. And I think there's no better description of what we've been witnessing in the last 2 years and a half.
You're talking about there, if we didn't have these boxes and jobs, you were taking me back to when I watched that movie Quest for Fire. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah.
You nailed it.
Exactly.
That's what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about you for a little bit. You came early in life. You discovered music came to you. I understand your first singing recording came at age 2 or 3. Do you remember what song you were singing?
Yeah. It's well, it was, so when I was a kid, I didn't like to sing songs. I liked to come up with my own songs. And we had this stereo in our house, like with obviously the record player, the cassette player, with the big the big amplifier and everything. So like every house had that at that time.
Right.
And my father bought a microphone, because I was always singing the whole day, inventing those songs and using random lyrics. And so at 3:00 one day, he was like, oh my God, I got to record this guy. So he pushed record, and for like, I think the cassette was 90 minutes, so 45 minutes per side. And I went on for 45 minutes, like randomly, creating songs and coming up with, lyrics, BS of any kind that a kid can do. Like, I was one of the lines that my parents would always laugh when we talk about that episode, is that at some point I didn't even know where to go with my lyrics, and I was singing it's summer and it's snowing, or maybe not. So I realized that I was going too far, but at the end, that was a sign that I was a creative person.
Yeah.
Because I was never singing somebody else's song. I was only creating my own songs.
Wow.
And then a few years went by, and in my house, my mom is from Naples, so she sings every day, all the time. And my father is a 70s and 60s rock lovers, great Jethro Tull, Deep Purple, Uriah Heep, Genesis fan, and Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles. So every day our soundtracks were, my mom singing, and our records played on our stereo. And every travel we used to do was always with, I don't know, Black Sabbath, or those kind of bands. And but we never heard Queen in our house. And one day, long story short, they stole a car and they left it in front of our house. And after a few days, I went into the car, and I was like, okay, they stole this car. This car is here. Nobody's gonna claim it. Let me steal those 3 cassettes. And 2 of these 3 cassettes were the Greatest Hits 1 and 2 by Queen. So when went up, and I put on the first Greatest Hits, first song, Bohemian Rhapsody, and I had these big headphones, and the volume was like at max, and I've never felt even after that such a power and such a big emotion like that day with that song. And I couldn't go on. I was always coming back, playing the song from the top, going back like probably, I don't know, 30, 80 times. I don't know.
That's
like
amazing.
Hours listening to just one song, because I couldn't realize the strength and the power that I could feel from the music. So my father comes back from work for dinner, and I was like probably 12 or 13 and 12. And I just, out of the blue, I said, okay, Papa, gotta tell you something. I don't want to play soccer anymore. I want to be like Freddie Mercury. I want to write songs that can have people feel the same thing I felt today listening to Queen. And my father probably has been waiting for that for, I don't know, all my life at that point. And the morning after, we went and bought a keyboard for me.
Nice.
So that's how it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We got about 8 minutes left here, which is
Yeah.
an eternity in talking time when you stop and think about it. But I have one key question I wanted to ask you that I thought of. You have been in so many projects and worked with so many people. Who is a person that you have had the most fun working with, and who is a person that has challenged you the most? And by challenging, I'm meaning not be, difficult, like an Yngwie Malmsteen, somebody who is just, challenged you musically, stuff like that is what I'm trying to say. And then somebody who was just a sheer joy to work with.
Well, talking about the joyful ones, it's hard, because I then became friend with most of them, and with some of them I've been playing for years. But I gotta give kudos to Johnny Gioeli of Hardline, because it's the longest relationship, musically talking, that I've ever had. Yeah. And now it's been 11, 12 years that we've been constantly making music together. And if there's a person that knows how to handle in a very good way people, that is Johnny. Okay, it's always positive, and I learned a lot in terms of respect and how you do things and how you act. And it's the funniest. There's always a joke, especially in moment of tension. There's always a joke coming, because he doesn't like tension in the bands. And the one that challenges me musically, even if it's a very natural musical relationship, it's Yorn. Simply because Jorn is has a different kind of feeling and hearing and creating music. It's got this big mind with lots of ideas. Like when he writes a song, he writes a song in his head.
Yeah.
And he comes to the studio, and all you have is maybe some guitar lines that he can play on the guitar, but most of the stuff that he hears in his head, it's going to be explained, or maybe he can mumble some of the parts. And if you're familiar with Jorn stuff, it's very complicated. So it's not, when we do records with Jorn, it's not something that we can do in 2 weeks. It's months of constant refinement of his craft. And but on the other hand, I really learned a lot from Jorn's vision, because it's very picky, very peculiar into choosing even the slightest, that does the even the most obscure element in a song. And that gives you just a different approach to music. And you learn that, you know, some of the magic and the special things sometimes have to come. You have to refine the diamond. So you're starting from, you know, a rough diamond, and you have to work hard and gently to get to the, you know, to the final result. And I gotta say that Jorn's records, I think we've done 5 or 6 together already, have always been, you know, long labors of love and refinement to the infinity.
Excellent. Chatting with Allesandro Del Vecchio today here for Let's Discuss with Lance Hall. The band is called Sunstorm, the album Brothers in Arms, coming out Friday, August 12th on Frontiers. We have just enough time, Allesandro, for a couple of my silly questions. This is where we learn the real Allesandro. Sound good?
Okay, good.
What is something outside of music you're good at?
You got to talk to my wife, maybe.
Okay.
No, just joking. No, joking. I'm good at cooking. Cooking is, you know, one of my passions. So I guess cooking is a good thing.
All right.
That I can do very well.
If you could blink and appear anywhere, where would you choose?
Right now,
Sure.
North Pole. We're melting in Italy, so I would go anywhere it's cold.
Anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, Antarctica or North Pole, wherever I can be, you know, at least in a little chilly environment.
If you could speak any language instantly, what language would you pick?
Oh my God. Spanish, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you usually travel heavy or light?
I used to travel very heavy. Now I travel super light.
Okay. What food is better as a leftover as opposed to freshly cooked?
Pizza.
Pizza?
The morning after pizza, yes.
Favorite topping for your pizza? Let's stick with that for a moment.
Well, I'm vegan, so I go with veggies and lots of tomato and garlic.
Okay, that sounds cool. Last one. This is the one we have fun with. If they were to make a biopic of your life, what actor would you pick to play you? And it's your movie, your life. You can pick anybody.
Oh my God. Anthony Hopkins.
Okay, very cool. Very cool. Allesandro, this has been wonderful to get to chat with you and hear the stories behind some of the songs on this Sunstorm album, and how you got into everything, you know, musically and everything. That's very, very cool. And I wish you much success with all the projects you've got going on, and safe travels on any tours, and may all your shows be sold out.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the support. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for the fun interview and out of the box questions. Yeah, thank you very much.
All right.
I'm very grateful.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. You too.
Bye-bye.